And it's not very often that the Earth is positioned precisely between the moon and the sun. So what happens during this alignment that gives us the lunar eclipse?
Yeah, lunar eclipses are wonderful opportunities to remind ourselves of geometry, right? When you have that alignment, Earth, Moon, Sun. And so what happens is the Earth actually passes between the moon and the sun. And when the moon is completely in the Earth's shadow, it turns that beautiful rusty red orange color. That is the projection of every sunrise and every sunset that's happening at that moment onto the lunar surface. So when you see the moon turn that red color, think to yourself that it's our atmosphere that is causing that red color on the surface of the moon. Just the same way we have red sunrises and sunsets. That's why we have a red blood moon.
We love to see. I don't know the last time I saw a lunar eclipse. I feel like it's been a while.
It's been a moment. I mean, the last time we had one that was North America viewable was, I think, 2022. This one's actually special because all of the continental United States, most of North America and most of South America will be able to see it, and we won't have another one with this particular geographic distribution until 2048. So there'll be other eclipses that are visible, but not quite as deep in the middle of the night as this one is. And so it's a good opportunity. Hey, go out, watch the moon, and enjoy.
Right. You could catch up on some sleep the next day or take a nap during the afternoon. So how can our viewers see this eclipse, and do we need any special equipment?
Great question. So my advice for enjoying the eclipse is to find an area that is relatively free of bright lights. You want to be away from street lights or bright house lights. You want to be in an area that has a relatively clear view of the horizon or of the sky. You don't want to be around tall trees. All you need is clear eyes and clear skies. So starting around midnight into the 1-2 o'clock hour, you'll see the moon slightly dim as it passes into the Earth's shadow. Bring your favorite blanket if it's going to be cool out. And again, wait. If it's cloudy at any moment in time, it's not something that is going to change rapidly. So if there's a break in the clouds, you get a chance to enjoy the eclipse.
Right. That's a good point. So don't just look out the window really quick, and if you can't see it, that's it. You got to go back and check a couple of times. I know it's in the middle of the night, but it's a sight to behold. So got to check multiple times. Now, NASA also has a mission that's orbiting the moon right now that's taking incredibly detailed images and data of our nearest neighbor for almost 16 years. What have we learned from LRO about our moon?
Yeah, so LRO was launched in 2009 to create a high-resolution atlas of the moon. We never anticipated that the mission would last this long. So what we've done is not only map the entirety of the moon, but we're also looking back at places that we've imaged 10 years ago. We're actually able to detect changes to the lunar surface. So not only are we creating this high-resolution atlas, we're creating a high-resolution atlas of change, of how the moon is evolving underneath our feet. And we use this data to help prepare for future robotic missions to the lunar surface and future astronaut missions to the lunar surface. So LRO has really taken the moon into the 21st century. We've done great science with the data. We're understanding more about our nearest neighbor in space than we've had before. And we're using that to prepare for this next era of lunar exploration.
Do you actually know how long you expected LRO to last?
Well, so early on, we thought, okay, at least 1 year, maybe 2, and if we're lucky, 3 years. And here we are now on almost year 16. And what has been such a joy to see is that the science team, the engineers have all worked very hard to not only identify ways to extend the mission, but those science questions that drive us to extend the mission. It's not just the quest for more data, but how do we collect novel, new data that we couldn't get before? And so LRO has really rewritten the textbook, not only of lunar history, but how do you operate a spacecraft at the moon, and how do you come up with and identify new science questions? It's been one of the great joys of my professional career to do that. And again, the scientific bonanza that's come from it has been breathtaking.
I bet. I mean, that's spectacular. Thinking it's going to be 1, 2, 3 years, and then 16 years later and seeing all those changes down the road. I mean, just phenomenal. And this is an exciting time to be studying the moon with LRO and NASA's initiative, working with private companies to deliver NASA cargo to the moon. What are you most excited for in this new era of lunar exploration?
And we're living through that right now. In the last week and a half, we've had 2 missions land at the surface of the moon. One, Blue Ghost Mission 1 and Mare Crisium in an area just here. And we've had the Intuitive Machines 2 lander head to the South Pole. Now, both missions carried NASA payloads. And so for the first time since Apollo, we've had instruments working on the surface of the moon while we have spacecraft orbiting around, understanding the environment that those instruments are working on. So we're able to do things with our data from the moon that really we couldn't have understood or comprehended 15, 20 years ago. But now, opportunity to learn more about the lunar surface, the lunar environment, and connect those surface measurements to orbital measurements, just like we do here on the Earth and on Mars all the time. We're now able to do that at the moon.
I mean, it's just so exciting, all of this new explorations, and I don't know, space is just, it's such a void, and there's so much unknowns about it that just like having these opportunities are just mind-boggling.
And we're learning new things every day, and that's what's so exciting. You said it's the void, and that void is filled with science. And so we are filling in those gaps in our understanding, coming up with 10 new questions every day to ask when we have that next mission to the lunar surface. It's a dynamic time, and it's an exciting time, and I am the luckiest person in the world to be in this position to be part of it.
I'd love to hear that. That's amazing. How are observations from LRO helping to pave the way for astronauts to live and work on the moon with NASA's Artemis campaign? Artemis.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, no, Artemis campaign. Well, you know, we take any pronunciation here. The point is that we are preparing for humans to go back to the lunar surface. We're creating that high-resolution atlas, the safe places to go, the scientifically interesting places to go. So not just sending astronauts to the surface, but sending astronauts to the surface with a purpose, to understand the history of the moon, connect that history to the Earth, deploy experiments that tell us about the lunar surface and interior, and what it means to live on the moon for longer periods of time. And so the observations from LRO are telling us where we can go, where we can send astronauts safely, and what we want to do when we get there. It's like the atlas that you have on your phone that tells you, well, we want to get off at this stop, and here's what we're going to see when we get there.
Do you think you would ever live on the moon?
I would love to live on the moon. I don't know that I would pass the astronaut physical at present.
I feel you.
But I have the next best seat is to help them be prepared to go do that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's very true. Where can our viewers learn more about our moon and how to view this eclipse?
All right, so the best place to start is to go to science.nasa.gov/moon. And from there, you'll learn more about the eclipse, more about our plans for future exploration and what we're doing at the surface of the moon and in orbit around the moon right now. And as always, you can follow us at NASA Moon on your favorite social media platforms and learn more about what we're doing with some fun animated GIFs and videos and more insight into the things that we're doing at the moon.
All right, Noah, there you have it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and it's been great.
I appreciate it. Enjoy the show tonight.
Thank you. You as well.